Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. I don't think we'll be here for more than an hour. Let's see who was here first. Oh, and by the way, happy Mother's Day. Okay. Looks like Fancy Fancy was here first. Thank you so much. Hello to Lydia Washington, Gwendolyn Daniels, Helen Marman. Let me see. CB, thank you so much for being here. Okay. Meghan's most regal moment. I love Meghan in that yellow dress. That's got to be one of my favorites. Anyway, let's make good on my promise, shall we? Oh my goodness, maybe I want to charge that up first. Let me plug this in. I really need to clean my desk off. It is a mess. I need to tidy my desk. Huh. Okay. Wow, 118 people, 127. Make room coming inside. Hey, what's up, Sussex Squad? Come on in here and shut the door. You know, I haven't seen anything from her in a while. Tisha Tells. Is she still on? Huh. Okay, she hasn't posted anything in 2 days. That's a shock. Has she gone live? I knew it had been eerily silent for some reason. Hey, what's up, Sussex Squad? Come on in here, you guys. Close the door. Hey, what's up, Sussex Squad? I love that. I think that's adorable. Hey, Big Mama, happy Mother's Day. Okay. So this is um from the Archewell. Yeah, this is from the Archewell. And let me see. Oh my goodness, why don't I close a few of these screens? Why do I have so many things open? Okay, you can go. Yeah, I got too much stuff open. Yeah, I'm going to close a few things. It is superfluous. Oh, was that my first big word of the day? Superfluous? Yeah, superfluous. That is a big word. Let me give myself a bell for that. Okay, it says today we honor the strength, resilience, and love of mothers everywhere. Mothers show up every day as leaders, as change makers, as role models and trailblazers. We celebrate their impact on the world and on the next generation. This Mother's Day, Archewell Foundation recognizes mothers in the Parents Network. Last month, many of the parents in the network showed up for the Lost Screen Memorial, turning their grief and loss into action and change, and sharing the memories and stories of their children to create a safer, more equitable online world for children everywhere. We recommend their courage and dedication to making digital spaces safe, secure, and inclusive for the next generation. To all the mothers and mother figures who lift us up, thank you. Happy Mother's Day. And that, of course, is from the Archewell Foundation. Now, yesterday, we learned that Harry and Meghan had actually sent some flowers to someone who lost their child, which I thought was the sweetest thing. That was incredibly thoughtful and generous. You can see that right here. See there? What a beautiful Mother's Day surprise from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan, and the Archewell Foundation. It was an honor to David's memory to be included in the Lost Screen Memorial. And there on the right, you can see what was enclosed with the flowers. So I tell you, it's always a good feeling to know that you're thought of, that your people remember you, and that they're there to uplift you and stand beside you, literally and figuratively speaking, of course. Always a good feeling. So, wow, that was very, very thoughtful. I mean, let's face it, it's a tough day for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, mothers and children. So, on one hand, it is a day to say, "Hey, I love you. I want to publicly make this declaration of love and consideration," but it can also stir up of pain, a lot of pain. So, um, for my sister's children in particular, I um, I was just like, wow, this is going to be tough for them. Okay, so that was from the Archewell Foundation. And then right here, Meghan's official post today. Meghan says, "Happy Mother's Day. Cheers to juggling it all with joy. And to these two gems who still attempt to climb Mama Mountain." That is so cute. Who still attempt to climb Mama Mountain, smother me with kisses, and make every day the most memorable adventure. Being your mom is the greatest privilege of my life. I too love you more than all the stars in all the skies, all the raindrops, and all the salt on all the French fries in all the world. Oh, that is very sweet. Now that's love. To love someone as much as all the salt in all the French fries in all the world. That is very personal because I tell you, if it's anything kids love, that is McDonald's French fries. That is the one thing they consistently get it right every time. And no matter what um, complex, what do you call it? Complex formula that you read explaining how those French fries are so good, you may as well be talking to the tree because we don't care. We just want those French fries. We just want those French fries. I don't care what's in it. I don't care what ingredients they share, whether it's this or that. Just give me those French fries. And then what I do when the McDonald's French fries get too cold, I just heat up a cast iron skillet. No oil, just heat up the skillet and drop those French fries in that skillet and just let the heat bring them back. You can put them in the air fryer, the toaster oven, whatever. Just put a little heat on it, and it's just like you got it fresh from the restaurant. It is an extraordinary invention. Whoever came up with that formula some mad genius somewhere on behalf of over caffeinated, chubby baby boomers everywhere. I say thank you, thank you, thank you. We should build a shrine to you. Best French fries ever. Meghan Markle royally sweet thoughts on raising her and Prince Harry's kids, Archie and Lilibet. And of course, that was the above mentioned. And of course, no matter what contempt they feel for our faves, the tabloids have to make their money too. And of course, you can see some of the old pictures of of Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet climbing up on Mama Mountain. It's a good thing she works out. It is very fortunate for her that she works out. Otherwise, she might be in a heap of trouble trying to lift up those two because, I mean, let's face it, they're getting some size on them, aren't they? And take a look at this nice collage that someone made. It's like a postage stamp of the trip to Nigeria. Okay, there's one thing that's missing though. Where's the yellow dress? You cannot say Nigeria to me without sharing Meghan in her yellow dress. It's just not done. It's not proper. You know what I mean? It is not proper. So again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, all the moms, all the mother figures. Happy Mother's Day. Now, wow, you guys, I wonder if we're going to be here for a half hour. I'm going kind of fast tonight, aren't I? Or should I say, ain't I? Emoji in place, even though it has been seen by millions of people around the world. I don't intend to further exacerbate someone else's situation. So I choose to use a little software to hide that person's face. Anyways, this is Thomas Markle Jr. Remember yesterday I said that that they were over there, and indeed they are. And well, anyway, they, as you can see, have found some companions. Huh? Yeah, they have found some companions, to put it mildly. Life is not as dull over in the Philippines. And I believe they said this is one of the most densely populated areas in the Philippines. So father and son are both over there. It kind of reminds me of the movie Officer and a Gentleman. Remember when the Richard Gere, Mayo, that was his character's name, Mayo. If you remember that movie, Richard Gere's fictitious mother passed away, and they sent him to the Philippines to live with his fictitious father, right? And anyway, he and his father, according to Lou Gossett, who played the drill sergeant, he said, yeah, you and your daddy, you just want to go home so you and your daddy can get drunk and go chasing together. There was a H word that he threw in there before that. And I don't know why this situation with those two remind me of Officer and a Gentleman. It's just that the characters involved are not in nearly as shall we say, they're not physically appealing as, say, a Richard Gere and a oh my God, who was that played the daddy? They're not nearly as attractive as the actors, okay? They're not nearly as attractive as the actors that played father and son. However, I think the effect is still the same. I know I'm reaching all the way back to the 1980s, but that was one of those movies that you know, in the early days of cable television, you remember that movie because it seemed like it was on all the time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let me get this other image up because, like I said, it wasn't my intention to share what I did, but for some reason, that thing I put on the image did not carry through. So note to self, cannot depend on that. Ah, and this is someone else. Thomas Markle Sr. seems to have a companion of some sort. Yeah, Thomas Markle Sr. seems to have a uh, a companion of some sort. Mad world, I hear what you're saying. Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. A minor. But no, I don't think so. That person looked like they had been around the band a few times. They look like they but still, I don't think either one of them suspected that the Western media was going to invade their privacy like that. So yeah, those are two different people. Now, I am going to, where's that at? Oh, I gotta bring up the slides again because I took those out the slides. I didn't want to have to come across those again. So I removed both of them. And let me bring my slides back up. Yeah, you think so? The Daily Mail then turned on him. Well, interesting you should say that, Sharon S., that is his health aide, right? Now, this is the man who has suffered a heart attack and a stroke, right? He's had the twofer, a heart attack and a stroke. Well, I don't know about you, but he is walking without. Where's his cane? Where's his cane? Wasn't he using a cane? What happened to his cane? I'm telling you, Thomas Markle Sr. is indestructible. He is indestructible. That man is indestructible. There is nothing you can do that will hurt him. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do. He's indestructible. He is the Keith Richards of creepy old father community. He's the Keith Richards. There is nothing you could do to him. During the apocalypse, the last thought I will have is what kind of world am I going to leave Madonna, Cher, Keith Richards, and Thomas Markle Sr.? Because they're indestructible. I'll be wondering what kind of world are we going to leave them? Them and, of course, I don't know, the cockroaches? Uh, well, and of course, I don't know if this is a bus stop or some kind of waiting area, but it doesn't get interesting until you zoom in and look at that sign. Reminder, do not leave garbage here. I repeat, a reminder, do not leave garbage here. Huh. What irony. What irony. That dumpster truck stomach of his is flanked by a sign that says, don't leave your garbage here. Just a little reminder. I think that would describe quite a few expats that have relocated to the Philippines. That seems to be one of those places. If it's not the Philippines, it's Thailand. They don't tend to go to South America because, well, you go to South America with some of those Western ways, and they got something for you. It's like going to Africa. You go to Africa with some of those Western ways, and they got something for you. Some places are more welcoming than others. So, yes, an absolute degenerate. So, I didn't know this, but there was a fundraiser for Thomas Markle. It had managed to get about 50,000 pounds, and then it seems like for whatever reason, it was abandoned. And oh, you know what? I think I do remember that fundraiser, or do I? But you know what? There have been so many fundraisers with the Derangers where the money never makes it to the actual cause or source or whatever. I have kind of lost count. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. Or am I too late with my trigger warning? Am I too late? Look who else was at the concert. Look who else was at the concert. Now, they didn't have nearly the great seats that the Duchess of Sussex and Prince Harry had, but they were there. She was there. And, you know, my God, if that woman next to her don't remind me of Paula. Doesn't she remind you of Paula? If you know, you know. Y'all know who Paula is. She almost looks like Paula, don't she? It's the stuff of nightmares, isn't it? She just keeps showing up. She just shows up. She just pops up out of nowhere. I mean, you could be riding down the street and then park the car and go to walk inside your house, and all of a sudden you hear something like a manhole cover moving, and out pops this person, smiling and grinning from ear to ear. Where did she come from? Where did she come from? No, I don't think her last name is Jones. No, the Paula I'm talking about is that troll that's always talking about Meghan. I think her name is Paula. Oh, she's awful. She's awful. And she has had some very questionable fundraisers. I'll just say that. She has had a very questionable fundraiser where she was raising money for some school in South America, and allegedly the money never did make it to the school. Allegedly, it has been reported. People have said allegedly that the money never did make it to where it was supposed to go. Some of the Derangers have had legal defense funds. You know, there's a lot of content creators that do that. They will get a legal defense fund, and you really have nothing to prove that they needed some help other than their words. Which reminds me, there was somebody else at the concert last night, a content creator who is constantly, and I refuse to say the name, I appreciate if you don't either. Well, there was another constant content creator that is constantly in economic peril that found a way to the concert last night. Yep, it was a who's who of who made it to the concert last night. Well, let me tell you something. Beyonce will be here in Chicago, I think, next week. I can't afford to go. I won't even pretend like it. I can't afford to go. So, what does that tell you? uh, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. What's understood need not be said. But yeah, it's always a surprise, you guys. Always a surprise. Well, if you want to really see the show, some of those concert tickets can go for, upwards of $700, something like that. And then there's this thing that it has been said, reported, alleged that the ticket master people or ticket agencies, there there are people who go in there and buy tickets in bulk, and by the time you go to buy the ticket, the prices are way up high, and then you have to keep checking and keep checking and keep checking. It's not like, okay, if you want to get the best value, you have to do the work. You have to do the work if you want to get the best value. Sometimes you can just, it's like flying on an airplane. The person who's sitting next to you may be paying 10% of what you're paying to get to the same place, if that makes sense. Buying tickets for concerts can be very unpleasant. But I got a feeling that some people, money was no object. I got a feeling that some people, money was no object. They just went and bought the damn ticket. And money was no object for some people. It has been alleged, that's what they say. It's been reported that money is no object. They just go get the ticket. They just go get the ticket. They just enter it into their mobile device and they got it. And if they can't afford it, don't worry about that. Let me stop because I'm not trying to start nothing. But yeah, and of course these are the looks from the concert. I'm going to stop right there. I'm in a very sarcastic mood right now, and I'm not going to give in to that. So, what's up? uh, anyway, you guys, believe it or not, I'm almost done. Can you believe that? Take a look. Um, St. Peter's Basilica is looking more and more like Grant Park, Chicago, every day. It's looking more and more like Chicago. I mean, it seems like they don't know where to put it. Do we want it here or do we want it closer to the entrance? But eventually, they're going to find a good place for the bean and they're just going to leave it there. So get ready because it's coming. The bean, also known by his name in the art community, the Cloud Gate by the artist Anish Kapoor. It is a highly polished stainless steel work of art. They actually assembled these plates of stainless steel. I'm going to say those plates of stainless steel may have been about averaging 10 feet square, 10 feet squares of stainless steel. And then those panels were welded together and then they polished them with lasers to get that mirror-like finish. So it looks like one solid piece, but it was actually constructed on top of a frame right on location. And then they unveiled it just to show the public what it looked like. Then they covered it again and polished it to a mirror perfection. It is actually very beautiful if you ever get a chance to see it. It's right there on Michigan Avenue and Millennium Park, which is really right next to Grant Park to celebrate the new millennium. But yeah, that is called the Bean. But the real name is the Cloud Gate, and it is very, very beautiful. Yeah, I love him. I think he's pretty cool. And of course, to celebrate the Pope's South American time when he was in Peru, here is an illustration that features the bean with the with the Vatican, and there are some llamas and some Peruvian a Peruvian family. Isn't that beautiful? Ah, RA, thank you so much uh for the Cash App. Thank you very much. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned the other day that nobody ever sends Venmos, and someone sent me a Venmo. I don't think I saw it until actually I was after I was done that day, but thank you so much for the Venmo the other day. Okay. Yeah, almost forgot about that one, but and it was just the one, so you know who you are. I don't like to say the name. Sometimes it's different from what's on the screen, and I hate trying to keep up with that. So I just rather say the initials or um yeah, see that's very different. I'm looking at the Venmo. It's very different from what's on the screen. So I'd rather not say that person's name because it is very specific. But thank you, LSW, for the Venmo. Okay. See, we have to be very careful because you know how these derangers are. And it really breaks my heart that these people that are should know better, first of all, and are in all likelihood very well respected in their community, even if they're the nosy neighbor. But when nobody's looking and in their spare time, they're on their electronic devices targeting a family, not just a one person, but an entire family. They're targeting the whole family, which is absolutely sick. It's a sick obsession. I don't know that anybody in the Sussex squad would go to a charity. Why are you working with Will and Kay? Well, first of all, you'd have to find a charity that they're working with. But that just doesn't happen where we go and fill up the comment section with a bunch of nonsense. Ah, check that out. Now, realizing that time was getting near, it appears as though Pope Francis, who in all likelihood intended Carmen, it is not important. No, it's not Paula Dean, but it is not important. We don't want to dwell on who's who. There's a lot of derangers out there. So who Paula is not that important. We certainly don't want to drive any traffic to her channel. So let's just leave that alone. We don't have to be so specific about stuff like that. If I go out of my way not to mention those people, it's because I don't want to give them any engagement. So it's not that important. But if you know, then you just know. So yeah, I'm sorry, but it's just not that important. Let's just leave it. Take a look there. You can see the Pope Mobile. Um, I guess he knew that time was getting close and that he wanted his predecessor to have a Pope mobile befitting a a Pope from Chicago. It's like he knew. It's just like he knew. Like there was no doubt about it that the next Pope would be from Chicago. You know, it's very interesting. I'm going to play, yeah, I'm going to play a little soundbite for you because I have been listening to it over and over again today. And I don't want to share the video because it comes from the New York Times, but it speaks about um, Pope Francis, actually. Pope Francis, who seemed to have set everything in motion before his passing, which it actually makes me feel very, very um, emotional when you hear this. You'll really let me see here. Uh-oh.
He says, well, I'm not going to live in the apostolic
Okay, let me try that again because the sound didn't work.
palace, which is this ornate, the
Okay,
apostolic palace, which is this ornate.
let me start it from the very beginning.
Pope Francis had a complicated relationship with power in the church. So one of the first things that he does is he says, well, I'm not going to live in the apostolic palace, which is this ornate, gorgeous place with frescoes by Raphael. He goes across the Vatican gardens and lives in a simple residence called Santa Marta. And everyone said, wow, this is a sign of how humble he is. And that's true, but it was also a sign that he wanted to get outside of the usual channels of power inside the Vatican. For decades, and even longer, really centuries, the idea was that Rome was the center of the church and that everything flowed to Rome and all power flowed down from Rome. So in the Roman Catholic Church, there's something called the Curia, and essentially it's just the bureaucracy that runs the church. It's a bunch of big marble buildings with department heads and secretaries. It exists to help the Pope carry out his office. So over time, and I mean a long time, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, that Curia has amassed an enormous amount of power. Francis comes out as Pope, and right away, he shows that he doesn't quite trust the bureaucracy of the church that he is now running. Remember, he was a bishop out in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. So he saw the Curia from the outside. He sets up a small council of cardinals who he really trusts and empowers them. He eventually has a new constitution. But really what he's doing is he's taking power away from the Curia in a sort of reform and centralizing decision-making to himself. And his hope was that the actual way that the church made decisions would become more bottom-up. The hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church is you have priests, and then priests can become bishops, and then bishops, if they really make it, can become cardinals. One way Francis tried to reshape the church was giving more power and more decision-making authority to local bishops. And he also wanted faithful to feel more like it was their church. So early on in Francis's pontificate, he releases this really important document. He seems to make it possible for divorced and remarried Catholics to access communion. He says, let's leave it up to the local bishops and the priests. Why don't you go talk to them? You guys work it out together. It's a process. And so people who were extremely attached to the doctrine and the rules of the church said, you can't do this. This is undermining the whole operation. But what Francis was doing was enabling big decisions to be made through a process where the faithful are talking to their priests. And that to him was the entire idea. On the one hand, Francis, his whole vision is to decentralize power in the church. On the other hand, he's amassing power, right, within the Vatican, taking it away from the old institution. So it could seem in contradiction. But I think actually there was something consistent there. He felt he had to get around them, get around Rome, in essence, in order to actually devolve these powers and bring his vision of the church out into the world.
So there you have it. Pope Francis seemed to have prepared the new Pope he took someone from South America, just like Pope Benedict took him from South America, so that they could go up against this bureaucracy of the old guard that was surrounding the apostolic palace. Now, I'm going to see if I can bring up that image to show you where Pope Francis lived in proximity to the actual papal apartments, the ones he rejected. That's why I say I've been listening to this over and over again. I guess for the past couple of days because I'm just so intrigued by it. But yeah, he rejected the lavish apartments that was there for him, and let me see if there's any way I can do this that makes sense. Because I want to just show you. I want to show you the difference between where he lived in comparison to what was available to him. Oh, that looks a mess. I don't like the way that looks. Let me see. There's got to be a better way to do that. What's troubling me is if I can get rid of these darn captions. That's what I really want to do, is get rid of the captions. Don't need that. Yeah. How do you turn off the captions? Okay. Okay, buddy. I don't need the caption. How about that? Okay. I think that works. I think that works. Okay. Give me just a second. And I will show that with to you. And yes, who said, oh, Joya Moore, thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you so much for being a member. Now, somebody said something about them talking to the press too much. And I don't know who said it, but you're right. I think I would be better served if they get his brothers off the camera. They talking too much. I thought they were talking too much the first day, and now they won't stop talking, which is quite disturbing. They need to shut up. It's time to stop talking. Let this man. They're taking too much focus off of him, and I understand the excitement, but they're not serving their brother well with all this constant chatter. I do not like it. Excuse me. I do not like it. I'm just like, somebody get them brothers of his off of the camera. Stat. I mean, they are talking to Lottie Dottie and everybody, and it is not good. And I have to say, the reason why I'm so disturbed by it is because the right wing has an in for this guy. And I think they're going to be used as a terrible distraction. So, time to stop a talking and let your brother do his job. And then there's the very clumsy way. I was looking at Gayle King. I was watching Gayle King, and it was very, very awkward listening to the brother dodging the whole issue of their race. He's telling you where his mother was born, where his grandparents were born, fair enough, but you're going to either talk about it or you're not. But it's not going to go away. But what can go away is that you can stop talking about it. I used to work with someone years ago, and she told me, never give somebody a stick to hit you in the head with. You understand that? Do not give somebody a stick to hit you in the head with. I didn't need any further explanation. Do not give somebody a stick to hit you in the head with. So at the top of the picture there, you see that bright building. It says Apostolic Palace. Well, those are the grounds inside of the Vatican, inside of Vatican City, where the Pope and all the power brokers hang out. The Pope's apartment is there and everything. Well, Pope Francis rejected that. Now, let me show you where Pope Francis decided to live instead. Okay. Take a look there. You see there? Casa Santa Marta. That is where he lived. It's like a dormitory. It's I think there were nuns that lived there or something, but you can see the apostolic palace over there at the top, and then there's somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the gardens, surrounded by what little farm they have at the Vatican. That is where Pope Francis lived. He rejected that other stuff. Nothing palatial. Exactly. Exactly. And then stop talking. They need to stop talking. They're talking too much. They are talking way too much. This man got a job to do. And it's not going to be so important outside of the US, I can tell you that. But they need to stop talking and just let this man get in there and do his work. But I'm already tired of him. They've already said too much. It was cute the first day. Now it's too much. It is too much. Go and sit down. Go take a seat. Your brother's got work to do, and it does not involve you. This is not your moment. As you can see, there he is with Pope John Paul II. There he is with Pope Francis. Pope Benedict brought Pope Francis, Cardinal, whatever his name was, Borgio, from South America because they want to try to get the power elite out of the Vatican's business. They want them to do some other things. They got all those people sitting around being part of the Amen section. And it should only be one person. That's the point. Good, bad, or indifferent, it should be one. But his brothers, oh my God, if they don't stop, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Um, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's not my intention, is to hurt anybody's feelings. But sometimes you just have to take a back seat and stop talking.
Hey, girl, sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Yeah, so y'all go sit down now. Your brother is Pope. Yes, there's some mixed race ancestry. No, ain't nobody holding it against you. Just go sit down somewhere now and let your brother be Pope. Let the Pope do some poping. Okay? You are not needed. You're suffering from, what is it, main character syndrome? You're not the main character. Your brother is. And they just won't stop talking and talking and talking and talking. Yep. I'm starting to think that his brother, the one down in Florida, I'm starting to think he done got a little soft in the head. I mean, every time I see them on TV, I grimace. Oh my God, there's some looks from the Met Gala that I totally missed. You guys, we're going to have to go through some more Met Gala looks. I'm just letting you know, because I just saw a couple of things. Not tonight, of course. I'll do that another night. But we got to go through some more of these Met Gala looks. That is amazing. Yeah, I definitely want to do those. This was the best Met Gala ever. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best one ever. You know what? I wanted to run this past you guys. Listen, I was looking, I told you guys that I have kind of submerged myself into Andre Leon Talley's world, right? So interesting. Andre Leon Talley spoke about how he was unceremoniously removed from his duty at the Met Gala, where he would wait at the top of the steps and speak to people before they go into the dining area, hall. And I want to say that every year since, he's not been doing it, since he's not, since they fired him essentially, and then of course they replaced him with influencers. The influencers were actually downstairs. They were not upstairs, they were downstairs. Before they turned that corner and walk up those steps, they were downstairs. And I'm wondering, were they downstairs last year? Because if not, I do believe that out of respect for Andre Leon Talley, that they decided to have these influencers on the street level instead of at the top of the steps, which makes a lot of sense because even though his name was not used for the title of the event, we all know that it was partly based on a essay, and it was also very much influenced by Andre Leon Talley. So if they would have had those influences at the top of the steps, that would have been a mess. That would have been very messy. So I think they kept them down at the street level for that reason, because they were speaking to people before they actually went up the steps, at least most of them that I noticed. But then again, they talked to Diana Ross after she took her cape off, so I might be wrong about that. I'm going to have to do some investigation, but I am curious about that. But yeah, basically he was fired. He was fired for being too old, too fat, and not being an influencer. So you guys, guess what? I am done. Happy Mother's Day if you just got here. If you run into Lou Prevost or his brother, whatever his name is, tell them that on behalf of the Sussex squad, that they really need to...
Hey, girl, sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Yeah, if you run into the Prevost brothers, tell them to sit down and stop talking. All right? Tell them to please stop talking. There is 1.4 billion, 1.8 billion people around the world that are in need of leadership, spiritual leadership. Now is not the time or the place. Okay. All right. Love you guys. I will see you all next time. Thank you, as always, for watching Royal Sussex.